Hello and welcome to the show. This is Andy's Shed Live, Series 15, Episode number 12 for Sunday the 14th of April 2024. Hello everyone and welcome to the show. And first up, I've got to say apologies, there is no on-screen chat down there today. Basically, we're having a problem with the Odyssey on-screen chat. They seem to have started putting ads in it, and the ad would have shown up on the screen. So we're trying to sort it out, but it won't be happening this week. So if you are in the Odyssey chat, hello to you. But for those of you watching after the event, unfortunately we can't repeat it on the screen today. Looks like we've got me get there in the chat. I don't know if other people are having problems with it because there's not so many people in there as there normally are. Oh, Wesley's arrived as well. Yeah. Well, unless it's just people out and about enjoying the summer sunshine this evening, of course, which it may be. Right. So yeah, we're going to crack on and work our way through things tonight. Basically, not got much time today. Very short of time all round at the moment, it would seem. So what have we been up to this week? Well, been taking stationary engines and things apart today, and vintage lawnmowers and stuff. Does anybody know anything about Villiers engines? Because if you do, I've got a magneto out of one here. I've taken two of these engines apart today in an attempt to find a good magneto, and they're both Duff magnetos in both of them. Which is absolutely typical of Villiers. Don't buy a Villiers engine, they're rubbish. But I have got one in the vintage lawnmower I've got to get going. So I'm afraid that's going to have to go to the very expensive magneto repair guy down the road, who knows how to charge. So yeah, so that's one thing that's broken. We've got another thing that's broken into many small pieces. Which, if I get my other camera in business, you will be able to see. Just hang on a second. Here it is. Here's the other thing. Yes, if I can turn it around without it all falling to bits. This is going to be a job for today. It's a switchboard, a key unit. The problem with it is quite obvious. It's smashed. Now, this didn't happen on its way to me. I can't blame the post for this one. It was broken. It was listed as broken, and I bought it as broken because, of course, I can fix this. So I thought this would be a really good example to show what we can do. If I see it's all fell apart, I can actually take the actual innards of the lamp unit, the entire innards of it away, and there's the case. Yes, I am. We'll worry about the innards of it later, but for now, let's just worry about the case, because of course this is the sort of thing that I can repair with my my acetone technique. Now this doesn't work with all plastics. Remember, acetone only works with certain plastics, particularly ABS, which I'm hoping is what this is made out of. Most telephones, most British telephones anyway, are made out of ABS. So I'm hoping that this switchboard will be made out of the same stuff. It kind of looks like it's ABS, it's discoloured, it's gone from grey to that sort of yellowy browny sort of dirty pond water colour like the grey telephones do. So I'm fairly confident it is ABS, and I'm fairly confident I've got all the bits as well, because as you can see here, it actually goes back together reasonably well. You know, there is a crack down it, you can see, but I think we'll be able to do something with that. So I think it's been broken a long time. If it had just broken, the crack would go together better than that, but you can definitely still see a crack if when I push it together. We will try and sort that. And also we've got to put this front piece back on as well. See how that goes. So what we do first is we do a sort of dry run and see how it all goes together. So that goes like that. Then can I then insert the front bit afterwards? And it looks like I can. So I'm going to forget about the front bit for now and concentrate on this brake here. For now, I'm going to try and sort that out as best we can for a start. And also this crack that's going through the top of here, you see, if you can see that or not, there's a crack there. Look, there's just a crack, not an actual main brake as yet. So all we do is we get acetone, pure acetone this is. I've not got much in this bottle, I'm running out. I have to go get some. And we just want to wet the edges of the crack with it, and see what we can do there. Wesley says I've got a generator with a Villiers engine. He says that doesn't work either. He also says, do you have to drill cracks to stop them continuing? Normally with a crack you would drill it to stop it continuing. With this method you don't really have to, because what you're actually doing is stopping the crack being a crack. If you can get acetone into the crack, then the acetone will effectively weld the crack up as it melts the plastic in the vicinity. So it kind of melts the surface of the plastic in the vicinity. Then the acetone evaporates into the atmosphere and leaves you with basically one piece of plastic again where you had two before. That's the theory of it, and if your crack will go together nice and close and nice and neat, you can often make it very difficult to see where the crack was. But what you can do is you can then make a kind of acetone slurry if you've still got bits of crack visible, like I have on the back of here. You can then make an acetone slurry to actually fill in any little bits that are missing, and theoretically we should be able to repair this, so it will look like it's never been broken. You won't be able to see where the brake was at all. That is the theory. Whether we can do that in practice with one that's so badly broken or not, I don't know. But it's worth having a go, isn't it? So that's what I thought. So, without further ado, we'll give it a try, shall we? So you just paint the edges with acetone. Now, part of the problem here is that the acetone, now I'm going to do this on the inside, so it makes less of a mess of the outside. I'm trying to hold that crack open there, and get some acetone down inside it. I'm trying to get it inside that crack there. And hopefully it'll all go nicely back together. I'm just painting on top of the joint now to try and just liquefy the surface and try and make that joint that I've done disappear. Now it won't disappear entirely, you will, because you will have to do a little bit of sanding or something, but it'll go a good amount of the way to disappearing. So what I want to do is liquefy the edge of this main brake. So you put acetone on it and just leave it for a second. I've got so little room to work here, it's unreal. So we do this. And we want to liquefy the edge of this crack. Now, because it's such a big brake, there's a lot to liquefy all at once. So that may cause us a problem. The acetone may dry before we're ready. So I'm just putting plenty on here. So put some on that half, and then we put some on the other half as well. And it really is as simple as painting it on. And what this is doing, the moment this touches, this is just sort of making that surface go a bit sticky. That is going to be the mating surface. We're just trying to make that a bit sticky. And now, working very quickly, we're just line it up and try and push the two bits together. And it's drying too fast. This is the problem, it dries super fast and you just can't get enough liquid in there. When it's such a big brake, it's much harder to do than it is with little pieces. Oh. I think we're there. Now we've got to hold it for a second. I think we've basically got it. Now, what we need to do now is start painting more acetone into that crack. we're trying to do is drag the plastic from the left over to the right and the plastic from the right over to the left. So as you drag it over the crack, it fills in the crack. That's what we're trying to do. Now, it won't fill it all in, it'll fill some of it in, it won't fill it all in. And the bits it doesn't get, that's where your acetone slurry comes in later. Now what this is also doing is taking away the yellow surface where I'm doing this repair, where the plastic has yellowed over the ears. That yellowing is coming off on my brush basically, so you can see it's a lighter colour. That's the colour it would have originally been. So when I've done this, I am going to have to colour restore the whole thing, otherwise the break will show up. But I'm trying to do it at an angle where you can see what I'm doing, but it's just a matter of painting it into the crack and then working across the crack to sort of drag stuff into the crack and drag plastic into the crack to hide it. It seems for some reason that I've never quite fathomed out, this works better on some colours of foams and that than others, and I wonder if it's something to do with a slightly different chemical composition of the plastic when it's different colours. It seems to work particularly well on grey foams and that. I did a grey wall foam. One of the first things I ever did with this technique was a grey wall foam, and when I'd finished it, you really couldn't tell it had ever been broken. That got broken in the post, coming to me in the post. But we repaired it. It's not totally foolproof. It will need some acetone slurry, and you make that by getting a bit of scrap plastic and just putting it in a bottle of acetone and waiting a while. And the more plastic you put in, the stiffer the mixture becomes. So basically, there's the repair so far. Now I know it looks terrible at the moment, but give it a chance. I won't be able to do all this today. There it is on the inside, and you can see how the acetone's leached through. I'm now going to do, as a belt and braces measure, I'm going to do on the inside what I've just done on the outside. And the crack has actually gone together better on the inside than it has on the outside, and this particular circumstance, this particular occasion. And what I tend to do when I finish this is I get it as invisible as I can on the outside, the crack, but on the inside I tend to leave the signs of where I've done it, because it's a part of the thing's history, isn't it, that it's been repaired. So on the inside I tend to leave the repair visible, but I try and make it invisible on the outside. I do this and people say it's not the same one, you know, when I've done it, because it's a kind of a 2 or 3 step process and you have to go away. I mean, we won't finish this tonight, we'll have to come back next week or something and finish it, and because you don't do it all at one step, people say, oh, it's a different one, you've got a different one, but I assure you it's not, it's all the same one. Right, so that's that bit kind of done, and it's dry on the outside already, and there are still dings in the outside of it, there are still cracks. If I can now hold this up to this camera and get it in focus, you can see, you can still see the crack, but it has got plastic down in it. I don't want to drag too much plastic from either side into the crack, otherwise you end up with a bit of a valley. So what we need to do next is add plastic to it, and that will be the next step, will be to add plastic to it to make it slightly raised. So that paler grey line, we want that to be slightly raised so we can sand it back. So that will be adding the acetone slurry to it, which will be the next step sort of thing in doing it. But we've still got the front bit to put on, of course, so let's have a little look at the front bit. So this bit, I'm doing it backwards here, Blue Peter style. This bit's still got to go on there, and I'm not going to be able to do it backwards So I will have to turn it away from you, I'm afraid, while I do the sticking of it. And now I've got two. The problem with this, you see, is I've got two bits to do at the same time. So, but they're shorter bits, so it shouldn't be too bad. There. So next bit, there's the other. And hopefully we can now stick that back into place. That's gone in better than the back did actually. Hold it for a few seconds. Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. Alright, hold on to it. This would be a good time to have a look, see if anybody else has appeared in the chat, wouldn't it? Oh yeah, Dominic's arrived. He says, evening all, just dropping by as I'll need to pack for tomorrow's trip and get an early night's kip. Kip? Sleep? What's sleep? As my friend Kat always said, there's plenty of time for sleeping when you're dead. Dominic's going up to Lake Windermere apparently, then on to Carlisle at the end of the week. It says, looks like an interesting case, Andy. Yes, you missed it, Dominic. It's a kiln lamp unit. Looks like Dominic might be going to see Bluebird. Malcolm Campbell's car. It's amazing how they restored that, considering it was all smashed up at the bottom of the lake for God knows how many years. And now it looks like it did the day it was built. It's incredible, the change. Right, so back to the the acetone. Getting ready for a fresh bottle of acetone. So there's that corner done, at least on the outside. Right, so just do those on the inside. So it's kind of like welding from both sides. Anybody that does welding knows that if you just weld two bits of metal together from one side, your weld might not penetrate all the way through, particularly if it's thick. And what we're doing here is just getting it from both sides, liquefying the plastic at both sides, so it hopefully does penetrate all the way through. You are chemically welding it. You're just using a chemical to melt the thing you're trying to weld together, rather than using heat, which is how you weld a metal. But basically you are welding. So there we go. And this one on the back now is touch dry as well, although it might not be dry inside the joint yet, so I tend to leave it at least 24 hours or so to let it properly dry. But you can see now I can actually hold this case now by this front unit that I've just put on, you know, and I can pick it up by it and move it about. I'm doing it fairly gingerly, I'll grant you, but it's back together now. So that is the key and lamp unit. Right, I'll put the top back on the acetone because it evaporates like 1-0. This stuff doesn't, ain't got much of it left in there. So there we go. There is the key and lamp unit. So that's pretty good, isn't it? I quite like it. Right, let's see what is going on in the chat. Oh yeah, that's right, Wesley. It's Malcolm's son's boat, Donald, isn't it? It was Donald who got killed in the boat. Yeah. Which Wesley says is actually a hydroplane, not a boat. Yeah, because it sort of skims on the surface, doesn't it? Yeah. Right. So the key and lamp unit is basically done. So that's looking quite good now. I mean, you can see now the acetone has vaporized again. You can see on the outside there is still a crack visible on the outside, and that's where we will need to go in with the acetone slurry and build up those little tiny holes and the crack and stuff. I mean, there's a bit here that you can particularly see where there's just a bit of missing material that we have to fill in. But I'm fairly confident it'll be doable. In fact, I'm very confident it'll be doable. So there's the case of it. And just for those of you who are interested, let's have a look at the actual chassis of the thing. Quite heavy, this. All telephone things are heavy, aren't they? But here is the unit itself. So you can put all the keys down, all at centre, and all up. Now, years ago, when I used to be at the Tramway Museum at Christ, they had a switchboard which was like a bigger version of this, it had 2 or 3 rows of keys on, and I remember it well. Not really quite sure what these little units do. I'm not really quite sure how these work. But I mean, there was a massive number of wires that went down a cable. Basically, I mean, when I turn this around, if you look at all the wiring in there, I mean, just look at all that lot. I mean, look at all these over here, and they all are a cut-off cable there. And if I can show you that cable, if I can get that in focus, look how many cords there were down that cable that somebody's cut off. So if I'm ever going to get this working, I've got to rewire all that. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Probably why nobody else bought it. So, yeah, I wonder what the wiring diagram for one of these looks like. But there's a bulb missing out of one of the things as well. See, and I think there's also supposed to be like a lens piece that goes across here, isn't there? And that's missing as well. So what is it? It's key and lamp unit 2A. GNA as a builder, and I think it's 74-1. The original label. And down the white label it says 76 on the white label, I think. And I was using the big one at Crouch in the early 1990s. So yeah, but it had exactly these switches on it. We've got a clicky button as well on the front of this. The switchboard at Crouch didn't have a clicky button. What is the clicky button for? Does anybody know what the clicky button does? But there you go. That is the key and lamp unit. So it's coming together. Yeah, so he's made a good job of that. A good demo too. Nice switches, says Dominic. Yes, they're very clicky. So I forgot to say I visited the Black Country Living Museum yesterday. Oh crikey, you're getting about a bit, Dominic. It says she's saying the trolleybus wasn't running, but there were lots of 300 and 200 series phones. Wesley says the clicky button is Earth Recall, he'd say. Oh yeah, yeah, quite possibly. Never thought of that. Yeah, Black Country Museum. Tell you a story about the Black Country Museum. The Black Country Museum once rang up the National Tramway Museum at Crouch, wanting to speak to the guy who was then in charge of the outside works at Crouch, a bloke called Bob Hall. Now Bob Hall had gone out to lunch when the Black Country Museum rang, and the guy from the Black Country said to me, he said, if you can give Bob a message, he said, all I'm wanting to know is we are planting some traction poles. You know, the poles that hold the overhead up for the trams and the trolley buses. He said, we're planting some traction poles, he said, and what we want to know is how deep in the ground should we set them. You know, how much should we have below ground level? And I said, that's a good question. I said, Bob is definitely a man for that. I will ask him when he gets back from lunch. The guy rings off the phone, and half an hour later Bob pops his head round the door. And I said, yeah, Bob, bloke from the Black Country's been on. He wants to know how much of a traction pole you should have in the ground. He's planting some traction poles. He wants to know how much you should put in the ground. And Bob says, well, he says, that's an interesting thing, he says, and it depends. So I said, well, what does it depend on, Bob? He says, it depends on how much you want to leave sticking out of the ground. And that was as scientific as it got. And I don't think we ever did find a sort of sensible answer to how much of a traction pole you should stick in the ground. Hello, I just found it. Attacking this. Look at that. We can't see it. You're looking at me. Post office telephones. A little tag with a little sort of thing on the back, a little numbered thing that you can sign at the side of, and it's numbered 1 to 10 down one side, 11 to 20 down the other side. Is a 20 switch? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, there's only 10 switches, so that's numbered 1 to 20. So is it when it's been wired up, when key that way's been wired up, one person signs it, and key that way's been wired up, another person signs it? Is it something to do with that? I don't know. But it's an interesting tag. I shall stuff it back in there. So there you go. Right, so now we've put the case back together. See how it now. How does it actually fit? That's a good question, isn't it? Because there's nothing at the front for it to grab onto. Damn good question. How does it fit? But it's stuck now. Well, how have I managed to do that? No idea. I ought to have started this before I came on, didn't I? And then looked all clever as if I actually knew how it worked. Right. So I think you put the front down first. Then you put the back down. Then you do up these two screws, and although there's no lugs or anything underneath, I think it somehow does magically hold together. Oh, it's pushed the front out. Oh, sugar. That's because I'd done it before me acetone was properly set. I managed to get it to go back, I think. Yeah, there we go. And somehow that magically holds together. I've got no idea how that case holds on, but it does. So, yeah. How clever. That moves out, I assume. That moves so you can get this out. So that one is fixed. I don't think it is actually fixed. Yeah, no, it's not. Right, so that slides out that way, then slides back in like that. Then you slide your bit of paper and your plastic thing into the half you've put on. Possibly a bit of paper first. Like so. Then your plastic cover. And then you make it all lift up a bit. Engage this off. That goes in and fits like that. How very cool. So I think we've sorted it. So I'm going to let the acetone dry properly, and then we'll come back to this and we'll then start filling in cracks and things. I don't think it's gone together totally smoothly on the back, but hopefully we can sort that out. Right. Dominic says they glued the handset on the 300 series phone in the bank, so I couldn't work out when it was made. Oh, it's just at the Black Country. Was it all glued together? Oh dear. Right. Okie dokie. Alright, what have I got here? I've got here on the end of this thing, by the way, I have got what is just like normal line code on the end. So that I assume connects to your line. And then all this cut cable. It's such a shame they cut that cable. Oh. This cut cable, I assume, connects all your phones around your building together. Which will be amazing. Right, so yeah, key lamp unit done. Right, so that is this week's project well underway, but I've not got one of those, so that's something interesting to add to the collection, even if we don't get it working. It's an interesting lump to add to the collection. Tony said I'm going to have to head off, might not be around next week, so in that case see you in a couple of weeks. Yeah, see you in a couple of weeks time, Dominic, and I shall be in touch about the big Blackpool doodah as well. Right, so oh, hang on, wrong camera, there we go. So that is that, we've sorted it. So that is me acetone trick done once again. We still have the red telephone, by the way, to finish off, that we're going to turn into the upside down wall phone thing. We've still got that to finish off. Might do that next week, I think, probably. Right, that is probably about as far as we go for this week, ladies and gents, because it's starting to go dusk here and I've got some stuff to do outside before it gets completely dark. So I think we'll call it a day at that. Thanks to everybody for taking part again. And I know it's only been a short show tonight, but we'll do what we can. Oh, Gambo's here. Hi, Gambo. Good to see you. It says, I've got you on my Facebook page with subtitles on. Crikey, have we got subtitles on Facebook? Yeah, we are now streaming on Facebook, on YouTube and on Odyssey as well. So we're all over the place now at the moment. Look for the Andy Shed page on Facebook if you want to see the Facebook stream. I don't know how it works on Facebook, how it comes out. I've not actually viewed the stream on Facebook, so I'd be interested to know how it comes out. But apparently we've got subtitles, which I had no idea about. So that's something a bit different. Right. Anyway, it's time for me to call it a day. As I say, I've got a bit of stuff to do outside. So we will be back at the same time, same place-ish next week. I am at a small stationary engine crank-up in Fiskerton next Sunday in the village of Fiskerton. It's not theoretically open to the public, but you know, it's just in somebody's front garden sort of thing. But it's only a small village. If you happen to be in Fiskerton, you won't be able to miss us. So I will be there from about 10 o'clock next Sunday morning. So come along and see us if you're in the area. And then rally season really kicks into gear big style then. I've just been given a list this week of all the rally dates and things for the summer, and there's a lot on it this year, so we're going to be out and about quite a bit. Right, so yeah, we will be back. So if you're around Fiskerton, come and see us next week. If you're not, then see us 7 o'clock next Sunday evening with another Andy Shed Live. But from everybody here for now, have a fantastic week ahead, whatever you happen to be doing, and we will see you all very, very soon. Bye for now.